who are you?
There's actually a funny quote. My mother used to say this when I was a kid, and she's like, I'm really scared because you're either going to be Osama or Obama. When I was 12, I read Steve Jobs' biography.
You got kicked out of your house at 16.
Yeah. I think that was probably something they didn't expect me to actually follow up on.
Yeah.
But I grabbed my bags and I left the house.
On that note, what was the first thing you did that was against your parents' ideology?
I think there's a lot my parents don't even know about my life.
Yeah.
And if they did, I think it'd be like a little traumatic. I had a hate account about me. It got 5,000 followers. They posted daily.
When people say they're envious, the grass is green on the other side.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way about anybody else's life?
I think, and again, I say it, my face and me. Whether or not it's due to an undeniable stack of proof.
So you said you had a 6-figure job.
Yeah.
You quit the job.
Yes.
I heard your dad found out through LinkedIn. What happened there?
I woke up in the morning and went, all right, we're quitting today.
Yeah.
And 2 hours later, I saw Drake in Forest Hill.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I saw like the GOAT.
Yeah.
Sitting there getting ice cream.
When's the last time you cried?
Man, why is nobody hating on me? Like somebody say something so I can feel it.
Yeah. What's the biggest thing you splurged on?
My Europe trip was like, I think I spent like 20 grand just like bouncing around.
You've been single for a while, or your entire life you've said at least to some extent.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's you, or is it the dating pool that's a problem? Do you think you have main character syndrome?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am the main character. I'm sorry.
Nothing off topic. Brought to you by Bloom.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Nothing Off Topic. So excited to get back in the studio and do this for you guys. I'm incredibly excited for the guy that I've got here with me today. This is the first one we're doing that's just a one-on-one. I feel like him sharing the space with anybody else just won't make much sense. There's a lot to talk about. I don't even want to bother with an intro. Let's just hop right into it. All right. So first off, welcome to the podcast, man.
Thank you. You flatter me too much. Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome, dude. Listen, so we don't know each other formally. We've followed on Instagram. I think it's just been a, hey, you're doing great here. I'm doing great here. We're kind of just, giving props and things like that.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that, first of all.
Of course.
Right? And your name is Dhruv.
Yes.
But I've seen you on social media as Dhruv.
Yeah.
I've seen Danny.
Yes.
I've seen Vano. I've seen Rude Boy. I've seen everything.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Who are you?
So I'm Dhruv Desai at the start of it all. But I grew up in a white town, so I went by Drew for 10 years straight.
Yeah.
It became so like second nature. I used to write it on tests. Like I don't really mind. It was actually like a kindergarten class I was in. It was like Drav. And so one day I walked up on the whiteboard and said DREW. Like that's my name.
Yeah.
And then I started rapping, and Rude Boy turned out to be like a great name for a 9th grader. And I was like, sure. And then I hated that. So it was Vano. Danny is an alter ego of mine.
Yeah.
That I've spent time we try to understand ourselves as life goes on. But yeah, at the end of the day, like I like to think of myself as a creative, a multifaceted person.
Yeah.
I'm just Dhruv.
There we go. Hell yeah. That's awesome, man. Listen, I think there's a million things I want to go through, but I think there needs to be a backstory before we get into it, because otherwise people are going to be confused.
Absolutely.
So we, again, like I've never met, we did a 10-minute FaceTime call to get on the same page, and now we're here.
Yeah.
So give me like the 60-second elevator pitch of your life as much as you can.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Absolutely. So, I graduated from Western University in business. I'm a massive technologist, and I've spent time in tech. I currently run an AI company called Zuri. Our goal is to make sure that creatives aren't scared of AI and are able to use it. Before that, I ran a clothing company and a media business. Shout out Valley. And before that, I ran a consulting business for social media, helping businesses get online during the pandemic. I've made music for 10 years. I find myself I've spent my life trying to gain as much experience as possible. And that has led to amazing moments, companies, education, and more.
Yeah. To say the least, all of that kind of comes out to you being the black sheep. I think you're the guy that's followed the non-traditional path in whatever capacity possible. So I want to take this podcast from like day one to now.
Sure,
all right.
Sure.
So let's start from back then.
Yeah.
What was your childhood like?
Yeah. I was raised highly independently. So I was born in Kolkata. I've come from a Gujarati family. I immigrated here when I was 1, so I can, I like to shout it out though. I was born in India. You keep that up. But after that, my parents worked a lot, as most immigrant parents do. My mother also was very adamant that I was raised independently to kind of figure things out myself. So I spent a lot of my time at the YMCA, at like learning clubs and like after school care, and just kind of bounced around. And I think I was born pretty extroverted. Yeah. So just made friends. I was the kid that my mom would look for in the neighborhood at like 6 p.m. because he didn't know where he went. And I'd be away like biking or playing basketball or some nonsense.
Right.
And as I grew up in Guelph, Ontario, which is like a really small suburb. When I was there, it was farmland. Now it's like a little bit more elevated.
Yeah.
At that time, you know, I was really great in math and science, as most, you know, Indian kids are. My mother made sure of it. You know, I'm sure you can relate. Like I used to study out of books from India, like shipped in 3 grades higher, and sit down through the tears, through everything. But I know my multiplication tables, you know? But that's where it started. And then I think the creative side of me is like, funny enough, in that world, I'm a massive Drake fan, and I found him early. When I was 12, I read Steve Jobs' biography. And that kind of dictated my life going forward. I'm a big fan of Steve because he sucked. Like he was not the greatest person, but it was in pursuit of something so amazing, and the focus and the detail and the orientation. I don't like perfect mentors. Him being imperfect made him relatable. But that's the early days.
Do you want someone to talk about you like that 100 years from now?
Yeah, actually, like funny enough, like at 16-ish, I have like, you know, macro goals of life, and I think one of the ones before it's all said and done is a bio about what I've done. I hope, you know, fingers crossed, that enough impact's made that somebody like a Walter Isaacson decides, hey, can I write your story? And in the pursuit of all that, it's just about, you know, getting that story to be so good, you know?
That's cool, man. Listen, you were not born like this. This is a upbringing of some sort that's led to this. Now, traditional brown families where you come from, being this way, I mean, it led to some, we'll get to that, but like, what was your relationship with your parents? Who was the strict one? Who was the one you're closer to? What's that all like?
I don't know that I was... In my early days, I was close to my mother. My dad worked the most. My mom made time to teach me, study, etc. Over time, it shifted. I think my father and I are a lot more aligned now, and my mom's a little way, but it's a mentality thing. They were fairly strict, but not in the sense of like, don't do this, don't do that. More in the sense of, you know, the best way I can put it is when I came out of the womb, I was expected to do great. And there's some confidence in that, actually. Like there's some support. Like it wasn't like we're gonna make you great. It's like, no, you're already gonna do great. You're gifted. It was the minute it happened. So it was an expectation. And as a child, like I continued to like meet that expectation. Creating a feedback loop. I was really great in school. You know, I tested gifted, which, by the way, like a third grader testing on 100% that doesn't really do anything for anybody, but I was, and it only reaffirmed that ability in that loop. And so that pushed me further and further. I think the main thing they maintained was like, you had to play a sport, you had to be in music, you had to study hard. So all of those kind of traditional traits were put upon me, and I don't know, like at a young age, I did kill it all. And so
I mean, you did that, which is great, but you rebelled against a lot of things they wanted you to do. So
that started later.
Do you think any part of them, just to an extent, regrets giving you that much freedom or that much liberty?
Probably. I'd assume so. I think what it's led to now, especially, is like they can respect and understand a lot of my traits, but I get the feedback, which I'm sure is relatable, is you know, like, you veered on the wrong path. You're so good, you're so great, you do so much great. Why are you doing this or this specific thing? And it took a long time to really like fight through that. And nowadays my rationale is just like, you know, you did well. Regardless, to my parents, I always tell them this, like, you did very well. I'm doing well. There are things that I have learned in my life from not growing up in India and growing up here that I've chosen to partake in. And those are things that, you know, whether degenerate or whether even black sheep or off book, they're me. And if anything, I say kind of anytime I talk to them, it's just like, you did well because I like me. And I'm very cool with me. And that should be, in my head at least, every parent's dream, that their kid just like is happy to be them.
And they love themselves instead of kind of, because if you don't have that, you're going to veer off in a worse path, I think. And you're right, 100%.
Exactly.
Cool. So if I were to go to your mom right now and ask her, or your dad, and be like, hey, what's a green flag for Dhruv? What's a red flag? What would they say?
There's actually a funny quote. My mother used to say this when I was a kid, and she's like, I'm really scared because you're either going to be Osama or Obama. I swear to God, she says this to me all the time. And so she's like, you're going to do something. And that's where the green and red, it's like, there are two sides. Definitively, Dhruv and Danny, like these ideas and paradigms shift through all my life. And it's just the simple fact of like, I love to live. And so as much of the good Dhruv exists, the Danny exists, and the fun exists. So their green and red flag is like, he's just too distracted or parties or whatever. But the green flag is he's insanely intelligent. And so it's always been that parable, and that's continued in my life.
He'll do something. We don't know which way, but something will happen. Okay, cool.
Osama or Obama.
On that note, what was the first thing you did that was against your parents' ideology that you can remember from back in the day? The first big.
Well, I used to like sneak out of the house, but I think the big change was like when I got to high school, I started like partying. I started drinking. I started smoking. I started doing drugs here or there.
Yeah.
I was trying to be a rapper. It's just part of the brand.
Sure.
And at that time, my high school was trial by fire. It was quite traumatic.
Yeah.
When I was in the 9th grade, I was this like skinny Indian international baccalaureate student, like just a nerd. And I loved clothes. I loved rap music. And so I told everybody in this white town that I was going to be a rapper and I was going to make clothes. And like, it's high school. And Ask FM was kind of the thing at this time.
Yeah.
And the backlash was already a little bit like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then I proceeded to drop a song that I recorded on a $5 Future Shop microphone. No idea how to mix, no idea how to sing, nothing.
Yeah.
And I posted on SoundCloud. I promoted it, and it was horrible.
Yeah.
The song sucked so bad. But the feedback was so harsh and vicious because I had sort of had this cocky stance that came from my parents of like, you will do great things.
Right.
So to me, it was, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
The first one just sucked so bad that, as high school kids do, they tore into me. And that trial by fire led to me having to put up a sort of wall.
Yeah.
And I think that's where Danny kind of originated, like this alter ego of superiority. And the goal there was to hide behind ego. And that ego, especially in a rap world, comes with being, drugs, women, like this brand exists. And for a 16-year-old who listens to Drake and wants to be a rapper, that's all you think.
Yeah.
And so that's where it really started. I started partying. I started coping with honestly like prescription pills and stuff like that. Like it got really dark. But that's kind of where the first things came up. My teachers, my principals, I had a lot of leeway, I think, because they saw something in me.
Yeah.
And so I was allowed to do a lot of degenerate things.
Yeah.
But my parents stopped it before my teachers did. So get to a certain point, but my parents would finally go, why did no one say anything? Like, he'll be okay. But to my mother and father, it was like I had turned to Satan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Osama. Yeah.
Yeah, Osama.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So with all that happening, I know when that 10-minute call, there's a lot of stuff that I got. The first thing that I got was you got kicked out of your house at 16.
Yeah.
How did that first rap rebellion lead to getting kicked out?
Yeah. So like, again, 9th grade, I'm doing well. Like I was a 95 plus student. Like everything was fine. I was playing sports in clubs, but then I started rapping, and that led me to like, and I played basketball. So I hung out with ne'er-do-wells, if you want to say so, to my parents. And then I started being out late, just like hiding things. And my mother and father were like, where are you? Like, what are you doing? And genuinely, I was a horrible teenager to deal with. I was insanely stubborn. I was very well versed. And so that 2-year span was very tough in the sense that I was trying to find myself in this world. And the route I had chosen was the degeneracy one that immigrant parents just like, that's the worst fear. It's their worst nightmare. And then that boiled over to then making clothes.
Yeah.
And I started in business. And then my father got involved to sit there and say, like, what are you doing, like, running a business? Like, do school. Like, sit down and work hard. I was supposed to be an engineer. Like, I was supposed to be a dev. And so at that point, tensions really started to catch up. And I think to my parents and me especially, I started acting like I made it. Like, I started acting like I had it. Yeah. And my father and mother did not appreciate that. And so, like, one night, a fight blew over and they didn't believe. I threw a water bottle, not at them, but like at the room, just like frustrated, and they told me to get out. I think that was probably something they didn't expect me to actually follow up on. Yeah. But I grabbed my bags and I left the house. And like for 2 weeks, I spent time I was working with a co-founder at the time on the clothing business. We were making money. Yeah. I literally slept on his couch for like 2 weeks and just built a business. And then my mom called me like, come home. I was like, okay, sure.
What did friends' parents say? You just said, yeah, stay here?
Yeah. Funny enough, it was one of those moments of like, you just hope that it works. I didn't leave knowing I'd have the place. Yeah. Bags in hand, walking down the street. It's a suburb. So I hung out in a park, like with my bags here. And I just called him like, dude, like any chance I can just crash? Like, what happened? Yeah. Now, with that being said, over those 2 years, my friends, my co-founders had seen my parents react to things that I do. Yeah. So they knew that they were insanely strict and knew that they were sort of locked down. Right. And so the answer I got was, yeah, pull up, dude. We'll figure it out. And yeah.
What if your mom didn't call you then? How long would you put out?
I don't know. Because at that point, it would have, what's funny is you go through you go till the end when you're in that scenario. So I was starting to think of like, okay, well, the business is doing X dollars a month, and how much more could it do for me to get rent? And then that's like the process that started in my brain. Yeah. And so all that was like cooking for me. and I was actively talking about it.
Yeah.
I had I think I'd sort of put myself in a position, and I had to get out. And if it was not going to be through my parents, it would be through me somehow.
Yeah.
But I stood my ground, and then I went back. Yeah.
So your mom kicked out Danny, not Drew.
Yeah, you could think that. I don't know. It's hard because you separate the two personalities, but they're me. You know? And I think the journey that I found and most recently have come together with is that there is benefit in having them coexist. They both have benefits, and so yes, might have kicked Danny out, but she also did kick Drew out because at that time it was just about running all I wanted to do was try. Learn to run a business. Make clothes, see what happens. Why
do you think they were scared? Because think about it this way: if there's money coming in. I'm secure as a, oh my God, my kid's doing well in school, 95s, doing these clubs and everything. Everything's perfect. Plus he's making money. For me, ideologically, it's like fantastic. What were they scared about?
It's hard to pinpoint, but I think more importantly, it was just that it was going to be a distraction and that because of it, I wouldn't continue all the fundamental things I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
Not knowing that, school is a different story. I think they always believed I'd be a great student. It was just more would I keep up going to class? Would I do, et cetera? Would I start to slack off there? And I think in general, when your 16-year-old comes up to you and says, I want to start a business, in my head, the initial answer is, sure, try it out, buddy. Here's $300. That's what I think. But yeah, I got my first $500 working at the fish store at Metro.
Yeah.
After that, I needed another $500 and my parents wouldn't give it to me. So I pitched a friend's parents an investment deal. Because they would, in my basement, my parents' basement. I pitched them, I got the money, and I think those actions, me going around my parents every single time, sort of created this whoa, he's way off the rails.
Yeah.
And that lack of control or guidance or whatever it may have been, I think degenerated, but so long ago, I can't even really pinpoint anymore.
That's okay. Yeah. Agreed. So similar path. I wanted to start something similar with Bloom. I had to have money invested to make sure I got the materials to get things started.
Absolutely.
At that time, I had a relatively okay job. I was making money, et cetera, out of IV, whatever. Yeah. So things were great. Parents are like, why would you consider doing this? Things are fantastic.
Yeah.
Mind you, my parents are business people.
Yes.
So they don't have a job. They run a business.
That's even better. Yeah.
Right. But they're like, you got to stick to the safer stuff. Right. So for me, all I needed was about $2,000 to get things started.
Cool.
My parents, obviously, I didn't have the courage to ask. I don't know if they would give it to me or not, but I didn't have a task.
Yeah.
Do you think that nowadays, if someone has a kid right now that's trying to do what you're doing, what advice would you give them?
Support. Jordan Peterson, as flawed of a man as he is, has a great quote. It's do dangerous things safely. Okay. So let's run it down. If your child wants to skateboard, let them go skateboard. Just put a helmet and knee pads on.
Yeah.
Same thing for everything. If your kid wants to try something that you deem to be off path or dangerous, let them do it. Yeah. But take your experience and guidance and give them a bubble around it.
Yeah.
And I credit my father. I used to throw parties and rent an Airbnb, get a bunch of people. It was just fun money. And the first party went so bad. I had to pay, the hot tub got screwed up. A lot happened.
Sure.
And the Airbnb guy was like, I need $1,000, dude. And I was like, I don't have $1,000. We spent all of it. Yeah. And my dad did bail me out. He's been there.
Okay.
So I'll say this much, when things got tough or I had an issue, my parents were there. They were supportive people, but just scared,
Yeah, because you don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah, which is fair. I did a lot of risky stuff.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask. So at that time, what's something your parents, you just wish they understood just a little bit more about you to make life a little bit smoother?
It was more a trust me.
Yeah.
And I used to say it to them. But again, a 16-year-old with that much conviction is not believed till he produces.
Yeah.
And so at that time, it was just just trust me. I got this. I kept saying, I got this. And I think that's all I would have asked for is a little more trust.
Yeah.
Even now, it's still the same ask. You just got to trust me.
Okay. And we'll get to that because you've made a risky thing right now too as well. But what's something that you now understand about your parents that you wish it would have mended the relationship a bit more if you knew earlier on as well?
I think it's I was so afraid. The one notion that really, really got to me. My father lived a very cool life before he moved to Canada.
Okay.
He was a salesman traveling for textile machinery. And so he was in Italy. He would hang out, doing a lot of great stuff. Had all of his friends. I've never seen my dad happier than in Deuda, on his porch, talking to his homies at 9. I've never seen him happier. And so as a teenager, I always thought that he gave up.
Right.
And that now working a job and you're just chilling, you gave up on your dreams.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be like you. I won't give up. Nowadays I flip the exact opposite. He saw an opportunity to benefit himself, but not only me by coming here. And so that switch was huge. And I think me and my dad are on a really great level. I love the guy. And honestly, at this point, he trusts me, which is awesome. But it took a while to get there. But, you know, I feel like a lot of us as teenagers, we stoke out, like, I don't want to be like my dad, etc. And then we slowly find out that, yeah, no, you're the same.
You're the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I think there's a quote out there. You're big on quotes, so I'll
Yeah.
come back. So there's a thing where it's like, when a son has some sort of success, the dad is the happiest man in that son's life.
Exactly.
Nobody else will be happier than that dad.
Exactly.
Right? So I think that's the case. I think whether for me, now that we talk about it, I see that. I think you have that same thing, which is nice.
Absolutely.
Now, on that same note of guidelines and parents and all that stuff, are you religious?
No.
Okay.
I've done the math and the logic. There was a pastor on social media who, like, he goes to campuses and talks to people.
Yep.
I don't remember his name now, but first I had the science pit take. There's no empirical evidence that God exists, and that's okay.
Right.
Live with that.
Yeah.
And then you start to think about the way the universe was created, the Big Bang, like, etc. The scientific explanation,
It all lines up.
it's chaotic, but it's somehow order.
Yeah.
And so that order, you know, empirically suggests somebody else.
Yeah.
I think from my perspective, there is no hard evidence. Okay, this is going to sound a little bit egotistical, but I believe in me.
Yeah.
I believe in faith.
Yeah.
I'm actually not a fan of religion. I believe it divides. I mean, we see it all over. Today, it's the biggest thing. Religion is a divisive metric that has been used horribly in my head. But faith is the most important thing you can have. It is needed in everybody. So, like, if your faith's in God, your faith's in God.
Yeah.
I think, and again, I say it, my faith's in me. Whether or not it's due to an undeniable stack of proof or due to just conviction, the faith is in me. I have some spiritualism. I think, like, eventually I might, like, reincarnate as a tree or something like that. That makes sense to me. But
sure.
Yeah, I don't know that I believe in a God.
So I get it. But the reason I say that is because for me, I'm more the kid that followed my parents' guidelines. I stuck within those things and I try to seek that approval, even till this day, to an extent.
Absolutely.
You're not doing that. To an extent, right?
Yeah, I hear you.
What on earth? How do you draw the line in the sand? What are your guidelines? Not religion, not parents. Where do you get the guidelines from?
Yeah, me, which is funny.
Okay.
That's why my life tends to be insanely chaotic. I learn by fire, continuous trial by fire.
Okay.
I try things. I put myself in a position, and I learn. Now, the lucky thing is, by 24 now, I have done so many of these risky decisions. I put myself in so many of these positions that the guidelines make themselves. I write a lot. I talk to myself a lot. I have these sort of mantras that sit in my head that I keep very deep. I write them in my notes. I keep them, and those guide me through the next.
Okay.
They're not religious or spiritual. They're simply like logic patterns that I've definitively taken and said, okay, you know, the key one, you know, I told myself, like, if you ever face a fork in the road, just remember that it is by defying the material and the normal that you have gotten to this point.
Yep.
And that simple line tells me, anytime I'm on a fork in the road, I look open my notes, I check it, I go, okay, we're going to make the decision that I feel, not the one that I've been chosen to feel.
Yeah. No, I teach students, obviously, right? So I tell them where it's like, listen, if you got to a certain point in life, you're only being given that stress because you've done the work behind to get to that point.
Yeah.
Like the person that's in Harvard stressing out is there because they got into Harvard in the first place, right?
Exactly.
So same deal in life. I believe that as well.
Yeah.
Now, you're breaking a lot of rules at the end of the day, but what's the rule that your parents have set since day one that you still follow no matter what?
Be kind.
Okay.
I think that's the one that, like, is what hits most. My mother always made it clear that I should be kind to everybody, you know, like the janitor, the whoever. But honestly, I've broken every other one. It's funny because, like, and they might see the podcast and learn a little more about me, but I think there's a lot my parents don't even know about my life.
Yeah.
A significant amount of it. And if they did, I think it'd be, like, a little traumatic and scary.
Yeah.
So, and that it just is what it is, right? Like, and so it's hard to, I broke all of the rules the minute I got to university.
Yeah.
Like, by the end of high school, it was done. I had sort of reaffirmed my own, like, not to get into a tangent, but in high school, like, after the bullying for 2 years, I won. You know, I had a hate account about me. It got 5,000 followers. They posted daily. That was 2 years of turmoil of, like, I would be at home. I would get a call from a party. It'd be a group of people literally just calling me to say you suck.
Yeah.
Like, it was horrible.
Yeah.
And I went through that alone, but I just stayed in the studio. I stayed in the factories. I stayed working. And by the 11th grade, everyone bought my clothes and everyone listened to my music.
Yeah.
And it's a really huge lesson in people's perspectives. They are malleable. But they're not malleable if you pay attention to them.
Yes.
They're malleable if you just pay attention to yourself.
Yeah.
And now I've gotten to a point, like, again, all that to say, after I saw that, I went just to me. Because I'm the only guy who's sticking to me. You know, I have great friends, but again, perception malleable. You know, and with my own parents, it's malleable.
Sure. Okay. That's great. I love you say that because there's something that we're all chasing at the end of the day. You're potentially chasing the bio, Steve Jobs related type of thing. I get that 100%. But to what extent? And then ego aside, Vaughn will be talking about it. Are we seeking the approval of like, screw you, I did it?
That was for a while.
Yeah.
So a lot of my success came from hate.
Yeah.
I actually went through this a while because now there's no hate. What's funny is like I just went so far that now all my friends love what I do. They're super supportive. Like I don't hear hate anymore.
Yeah.
And for a while that actually was bad. I was like sitting there like, damn, why is nobody hating on me? Like somebody say something so I can feel it.
Yeah.
I now like have rationalized it to be like rather than it screw you, it's for the people I value and are so close. It's I need to prove you right.
Right.
So that shift was really good. But yeah, hate drives a lot. It's a great energy. It's just chaotic and unsustainable.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, no, it worked really well for a while.
Yeah, dude, there's so much I like here, which I love about this because mine is a more traditional, similar path where it's like same deal. Whether it's, I don't want to use the word hate, but parents, potential lack of support, friends,
doubt, etc.,
all that stuff, right?
Be,
And back in the day, it was like, let me do this. Let me just show you. Give me 60 days. Let me walk you through this, right? Now it's like, I mean, I like it, but I hate it where it's like, everyone's like, oh, that's so cool. You do this. They're envious to some extent. I like it, but I want that. You're like, I want to feel it again because the thing is that drove me to get where I am right now. So when people say they're envious, the grass is green on the other side. Do you feel that way about anybody else's life?
Yeah. It's really funny, actually. I spent some time in corporate. I lived that life.
Yeah.
Made 6 figures, clocked in, clocked out, had my friends, etc. And then I left it, and I started to like, I met up with a friend of mine who I hadn't seen in a while. Yeah. And he had just gotten a new job, making less than I did, just gotten a girlfriend, and he's kind of in this position. So we're having this parallel conversation. And I love the guy, but I was so mad. I couldn't sit there and explain to myself why I was so mad at him. Yeah. And then after I'm sitting there and I'm like, I talked to ChatGPT about it. I was sitting there, I was like, why am I so like mad? And he's like, dude, like that's a life that you could live, but you chose not to. And now you're jealous about it. I think the grass is always green on the other side. The way I see it is like, look, that version of me in corporate, like I could have lived the traditional. I did it. I won all the metrics that traditional did.
Yeah.
But I think my head just sat there like, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, it's like the grass is always greener. You just have to make the decision that works for you. Yeah. But it comes from self-awareness and years of it, right? Yeah. Years of breaking down what I feel and don't feel, what I like and don't like, you know, and then now you can kind of guide your way through.
Yeah, look, let's talk about academics, right? For me, for example, academically, fantastic. Like when people are flunking in university, humbly saw us doing fantastic. It's like, wow, like I got this, I got the brain, it's great. Absolutely. I got a great MCAT score. I was like bound to med school. Nice. And then I told my mom, no, I'm not doing this. Like I can't do this. Because my parents are business people. They're doing well financially. They have the freedom of time. I see it. And I'm like, why on earth should I go do this? Which is, in my head at least, the complete opposite.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
So I want what you want, but they're not willing to kind of understand that I want it because it's their fault. They're the ones that showed it to me. If you didn't show me that, I wouldn't want it. Right?
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
I gave that up. I gave that up, right? So with all that, like, I think what I'm trying to get at is we feel that way about somebody else. I see people like, oh, they're making like 300 grand being a doctor. I'm like, I could have had that, but now they're looking at my life saying, I wish I had what you had. But with all that, do you think that people would still want your glory without knowing the entire story? If they knew the entire story, would they want what you have now still?
God, no. The part that really stands for me in my confidence these days is the trials. Like I went through hell to get here, and it was hard. Now, if you can do it, I respect you. It's why I'm willing to tell everybody the plan. I'll tell you everything that happened. Yeah. Because like you wouldn't, I don't know. I don't know. You want to do half of it, you know? Yeah. And it's cool. Like I don't wear it like a ego or like a shoulder. It's just like, it was how it worked. Steve has this quote, and it's like my favorite thing in the world. It's just like, you can't connect the dots looking forward. Yes. It's only looking backwards that you see them connect. Yeah. So the worst times in my life led to the best, and the ups and downs are what life is, you know? And these days I think my rationale is just like, it's kind of funny, but like if we for a second, thought experiment, treat your life like an open world video game, like GTA 5. Yeah. But it has a little more rules. So you can't like rob people and like shoot people, but you know, it's still open world. And your goal becomes, okay, I need to get XP. Now that game's gonna end. There's no matter what, it ends. Yeah. So the only goal I got now is XP. And I can't get the XP. You can't get the XP. I get. So to me, it's like this podcast, XP. But me sitting at home, like writing a journal, XP. Like going to Europe, XP. But even like the most mundane moments, the heartbreak to the best, just experience it all. And it's been the modicum that I've kind of lived my entire life on.
Yeah. You don't want to slow down. You want to do something and gain something from everything.
I can't. I get like, I can't. I tried slowing down. I really did. I really did. I lasted like 6 months.
Yeah. No, I tell everybody, like, I haven't taken a day off work. God knows when I took the last vacation. I don't know when it is. Because even when I'm on vacation, quote unquote, gone to Europe or whatever it is, I'm still on the clock. Like, when I have a free second, I'm not sitting there. I'm doing something, right? So that's the part where it's like, if I tell you, yeah, life is great now, money's great, the freedom of time is great, the business is great, but you have no idea what I'm giving up to get what I have.
Exactly.
Right. Cool. Okay. So to slow it down for a second, I did a little bit of homework.
Cool.
So I dug a little bit into you. So,
Nice.
digital footprint, all that stuff.
Interesting. Okay.
Put stuff up on the screen.
Sure.
I want you to just,
No.
it's not too bad, I promise.
No,
Like,
it's okay. It's okay. I haven't seen half this. Let's go.
So I dug a bit into it. I'm going to put something up on the screen. Just tell me who is this through
Okay.
at that stage in life.
Okay.
All right. So first one, go ahead.
Oh, wow. Yeah. This is Drew. This is like the most core version of me.
Yeah.
Like I played, first love was basketball. Like I was just a kid playing, I was an immigrant kid playing basketball, good at school.
Yeah.
Wow, that's my Facebook. Yeah, that's yeah, this is just me like before life became life, if that makes sense. You sort of get this moment, and as a macro point, not to be too crazy about society, but kids don't get this anymore. It's hilarious.
No.
I'm so valued for this time. I never had a video game console. It wasn't until my uncle gave me a Wii. My parents were adamantly against it.
Yeah.
So I was outside, hanging out with friends. The guy in the middle his name's Aiden. He's a friend of mine as a kid. I haven't seen him in years, but general point, we were not partying all night, by the way. We were probably just like sitting there talking. I don't know. Yeah. But this is like me just trying to figure out the swagger. Like, how do I get there? I didn't have it at this time at all, but that's funny. Yeah. This is probably the purest version of me.
Yeah, for sure, man. Okay, let's dig deeper now and get to maybe a little bit more rebel.
Oh yeah, dude. Okay. So on the left, I used to be a Sea Cadet. I don't know if anyone knows what that is, but I lasted like a year. That sucked. But I met a lot of great people. And I think for that, it was just my mother, this was at a time when I was a little rowdy. And my mother thought cadets or army training would be kind of like the thing.
To slow you down,
Yeah. The thing was my shoes were always the most polished. I was the most pressed. I did very well. It was boring and I didn't want to do it anymore. In the middle, like I play a lot of sports. This was volleyball. Again, like I think sports is one of those early stage things that just builds camaraderie.
Yeah.
And then that was one of my first like concerts at school. I used to host concerts all the time. Funny enough, like I got suspended for a day from my school. And that day I went to my friend's school and I performed at his school. It was like, I used to do this stuff all the time. I love being on stage. It's one of my favorite things in the world.
Yeah.
I hope to get to do it more and more, but in business, you don't as much. But,
Sure.
This version of me, I think is again, finding himself out, which is funny. Like you'll see remnants of who I am now in this, but this is the multifaceted of my life. I was very social. I was in sports and I did the traditional, but I also made the music. This is the time, one of my favorite times of my life, by the way. Like it was great.
Yeah. That music, that concert right there, is that after the hate or before the hate?
Before.
Or during, basically.
Yeah, during, honestly. Like it was all going on. But at the same time, the organizer would have me on stage. Like the teachers wanted to see it happen. Screw it,
Yeah.
The song actually is called Famous. And like the hook is just like, man, I just want to be famous. Like that was the whole thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is like the figuring it out phase, honestly.
Okay, sick. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Who's this?
So this is the ego, right? Like at a certain point, the way that I got to where I needed to, this is prom. So like by the end of the school year, like within Guelph, Ontario, I had become famous.
Yeah.
Within this small town. I used to go to McDonald's and like the workers would take videos, which is like a really weird thing,
Really?
right? Yeah, no, genuinely. I threw these massive parties. The AP after this was my party. The general point being like, I adopted a persona and a brand. And that brand was this sort of like mafioso, like I'm from the burbs, but like I've been there, I've seen that, blah blah blah. And that's what this guy is, like the velvet suit, chains on. Like I was trying to be the ego. Like it was, how do you be a businessman but be like cool, like urban?
Sure.
And that the mob boss. Yeah,
this is not the typical prom outfit.
No, that's Danny. Like it's funny enough. Like that's that guy.
Yeah. Cool. All right, let's keep going. These are your lyrics from a song.
Yeah.
Can you read them out for me and tell me what song it is?
Yes. We both know. Still working with the same mans. I'm still cooking with the same plans. And I'll still love you if you ain't a fan. I know that you're in demand.
Yeah.
I wrote this about a girl who I fell ridiculously in love with. This whole song, it was a 2-piece EP. I have this like habit of writing songs about women that I like fall for.
Yeah.
And these lines specifically were really key to me. Like I wrote this in like 2022. And at that time, you know, I had done so much. I'd run 3 companies at that point. I shot the video in the penthouse of the Shangri-La. Like I was at peak at that time.
Yeah.
And so when I was writing it and then all this stuff was going on in my head, it was just like, you know, I still have the same friends I had from before. Like a lot of my friends I went to high school with. It was those few guys who out of everybody were like my boys. Still got those guys. I was still cooking with my friends. Like all my business partners have been my homies. Like it's, I don't know. This one was just like, whether or not you love me or not, my name's probably in your head at some point.
Yeah.
So like, it's all good. And it goes back to that perception thing, right? I just stopped caring. Like after a while, like, say what you want. It is what it is. Yeah.
100%. Okay. And then we both know you shot it. I have a picture of that there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this was a really fun shoot.
Yeah.
So I have a friend, shout out Rewack, Michael Frank. He's my dog. He had a year lease at the penthouse of Shangri-La. The brown girl who's in there is actually how I met him.
Okay.
One morning, I was at my place. She shows up, this crash at her apartment in Toronto, and she goes, "Hey, can you just drop me off at my friend's place?" I'm in my PJs, I haven't showered, brushed my teeth. I'm like, get in the car and I drive her. Turns out it's the Shangri-La.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Do you want to come up?" I was like, "Sure." You know what? Screw it. We go up and suddenly I'm on the 65th floor, 2-floor penthouse. And I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
And Mike walks out and he goes, "Hey, what's up, man? I'm Mike." I was like, "I'm Drew." And he's like, "You got a car, right?" I was like, "Yeah." I'm like taking it back. She's like, "Okay, I got on some errands. You want to come?" I was like, "Yes, dude. I want to hang out with you all day. Like, this is sick." Anyways, like we spent the day like at Canadian Tire, like buying like security locks and shit, became like instant friends.
Yeah.
That night, I went back to my place, grabbed his suit because they were having like a party, and went to the Shangri-La. I showered there in his room, dude, and like pulled up to the party. Yeah. And from that moment forward, 2022, we've been amazing friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. The girl in there, Bree, shout out Bree. She's great too. Like in general, that moment, that summer was ridiculous. I have multiple 6 a.m. sort of like sunrise lookouts at that view of just like, how did I get here? Like, we made it in some senses. You know?
Sure. Before we go on to the next one, for this one, I get that. I feel like even in my life or even yours, like there's a lot of places where things just line up.
Yes.
Things don't line up a lot of times, but things line up.
Yep.
Do you think that's luck? What do you believe in there? Like,
yeah, so I've studied this. Like luck in my head is a mix of opportunity and preparedness.
Yeah.
So you should spend a lot of your time being prepared for opportunities, skills, hard skills, etc. And then the other side of it is go chase opportunities.
Yeah.
Don't say no. Go see that. Go do that thing. And it's not even business, dude. Go out with your friends. Go take the risk. Go here.
Yeah.
So if you pair those two things together, luck happens. Yeah. Because you're really skilled or you're really sociable, whatever it is, and then you put yourself in a bunch of environments, inevitably something's going to hit. And for me, it's continued to.
100%. Yeah, I think you put yourself out there. Luck is hard work paying off. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Last one is more so recent. So from your Instagram, you got a bio here if you want to read that out and tell me what's going on.
Yeah. It's leaving all doubts behind, keeping my peace of mind, and taking care of mine. More love and more life to you all. And I wish a peaceful demise to anyone who wants to see me fall.
Yeah.
I still am petty. Dude, I've been through a lot. So I hope for you to hate, please. And for me, to those who have done me wrong, I am a cordial human being, but I don't like you.
Yeah.
This picture is really great because that's me speaking to a first-year Ivy class.
Yep.
I was a data science student my first year, and I switched into business very quickly. By that point, I partied so much, I knew I was not getting into Ivy.
Yep.
Like, it was just not happening. I didn't put an app in. In my first year, I decided that school was not going to be the way I want.
Yeah.
So I switched in. I found the easiest program at Western, which to me was consumer behavior.
Sure.
I switched into it, and from that moment forward, I never studied. I didn't do anything. I showed up for the exam.
Yeah.
I did the project, and that's it.
Yeah.
Whatever got me the degree was what I was going to do. And then by my 4th year, graduating, I got asked to speak at Ivy. And so it was this sort of full circle moment of like, you guys wouldn't ever take me, but now you want me to talk to your students. So it was a great, like, I've had a couple of those where the full circle comes around, you just sit there, and it was a great talk. Like I enjoyed giving my 2 cents at the time I was running Valley. And more importantly, I think it was a great arc for me to just like be in the room and be teaching rather than learning.
Yeah, 100%, man. That's awesome. I think this kind of gives you an idea of like where you came from, where you're going.
It's cool.
So,
it's
nice.
fun to see.
So that's our little deep dive. But all right, back into it again. You're talking a lot about, again, what you're doing now, where you're going.
Yeah.
And you just recently, tell me how you quit your job, things like that. So tell me what's going on there.
Yeah. So, it starts in Europe. I went to Europe for a month. And after I got back, I learned that I was 23 and I didn't need to work. I could just work my one job. I didn't need to do more than that. And so I sold my piece in Valley. I just screwed off, and I partied and I worked, and I just decided to be 23. And there was a looming kind of anxiousness to it all that like I wasn't doing enough. My purpose wasn't there. But it was a great time for me to travel, read, look into my brain, just look at cracks that I had ignored from moving so fast for 7 years. So I slowed down and I just tweaked my brain. I would say I got like 90% of the way there. And my co-founder calls me. He goes, dude, screw that clothing company. I'm doing some crazy in AI.
Yeah.
You got to come help me. This is not, because I have a technical background.
Sure.
So it's like, this is not my game. But if you come help me do this, this will be amazing. And I was on the phone. I was like, dude, like, I'm fixing myself. Like, I was getting through things. But the call comes and you take it. Again, it's one of those moments of like, you make the decision. So we hopped in and that was around January of the year. And 4 months, and I was building it. I was working and I was building the business. I was back to that world.
Yeah.
But it was so tough. And like doing both is like 16-hour days. And then on top of the 16-hour days, I'm partying. And it was just a spiral. And because I've been through it, I knew where this goes. I know where that leads.
Yeah.
You overwork, you overparty, and you burn out. Like I know that leads, and I know how it goes. So every week I'd wake up, and on Monday there'd be a new AI product or a new tool. It's such a bleeding edge tech that like every day there's something new.
Yep. And
I'm sitting there getting frustrated. I'm like, dude, like we have to go harder. We have to go harder. At the same time, I'm getting emails from my job, and I'm like, dude, okay. And if I love my company. Shout out Datalink. Shout out that whole team. Like I love TMX. It was one of the greatest places I got to work.
Yeah.
And so it was almost disrespectful to not be 100% attentive.
Sure.
And the minute I wasn't, I said, all right, we're done. You know, regardless of where the financial situation or anything, like we're done. We're just gonna quit. Yeah. And so I quit. And I work with TMX in like some facets now from a B2B perspective. But I just like said, screw it. It was funny. That day was actually really cool. I didn't know I was gonna do it.
Yeah.
I woke up in the morning. I went, all right, we're quitting today.
Yeah.
And 2 p.m. I quit. That was it. And then 2 hours later, I saw Drake in Forest Hill.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, one of the craziest signs you could ever have in your life, man. 2 hours after, just saw like the GOAT.
Yeah.
Sitting there getting ice cream.
Yeah.
And I went, okay, well, we probably made the right decision. Yeah. So that day was like, and it goes back to like definitive decisions.
Yeah.
I don't wallow too much. Yes, I'll think through things. Yeah. Sometimes I might be too fast, but I make a decision. I put myself in the room. And then after that, we'll figure it out. Because my thing is, the worst case, you make another decision.
Sure. You can always go back to that 6-figure job.
Yeah, I mean, even not go back. Like I could go to Europe and backpack right now. I could work in a hostel. I could go to Asia and like teach English. Like I don't know. Like there's so much to do.
Yeah.
All it takes is another decision. Sure. For now, I'm doing this, and if I ever decide I don't want to, then I'll make another decision. I have a high conviction that I'm probably never going to do anything else, but we'll see.
Well, yeah, I feel like when you're in something, you're like, this is life. This is what I'm going to do. I get that. Now, look, I think everybody watching is going to have this thing of like, okay, this guy's great. Love the energy, confident, fantastic. Dude, like this is all great, but money, like what is going on? So let's tap into that. So you said you had a 6-figure job. Yeah. You're working it.
Yeah.
Before I even get to money, parents and money.
Yeah.
Right? So you had the job. I'm sure parents like, oh, great. Finally, it's doing something great. This is so safe. Fantastic. Happy parents.
Absolutely.
You quit the job.
Yes.
I heard your dad found out through LinkedIn. What happened there?
I didn't tell him. Again, this is my fourth time.
Yeah.
And every time I know the response. I know exactly what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And because I had made the decision and it was this is the riskiest bet I've made so far. And so I needed to, like, I value my mind and I needed to be in a space that I could just do it.
Yeah.
And so the last thing I needed was that. And so I post on LinkedIn and my dad gave me a call. He's like, hey, how's it going? I go, hey, Dad. He goes, I saw your LinkedIn. And I go, yeah, look, I'm really sorry I didn't tell you. You got to trust me on this. And my dad kind of looked at me. He's like, okay, cool. I just know like the job market's hard right now. And I said, yes. And then I went through all the stuff. Like I'm in a pretty privileged position.
Sure.
My resume is stacked.
Yeah.
I have companies, Deloitte, TMX. I'm not an entry-level role anymore.
No.
And so I'll go back if I need to. I'll find something. But we are at the forefront of new technology. This is .com. Yeah. This is the internet.
Yeah.
I don't care if I'm not a billionaire off this. I just need to learn it. There's no question. Yeah. I'm too much of a technologist. Like the 12-year-old me is like jumping in his seats for the chance to be Steve.
Yeah.
You know, like I have to. There's no option. Yeah. You know? And so that was the answer. And then a couple hours later, my mother called me and it was a lot of like tears and just like bawling and just like, what are you going to do? Like what's going to happen? As though like it was happening to her.
Yeah.
I've been pretty grateful myself. Like I haven't really relied on my parents financially since I was like 16. I paid my way through school, paid for all my residences. Okay. My dad paid for my first year res, and then he gave me like a credit card. The first month, it was like $1,000 limit. I think I spent like $500. And he calls me. He goes, "You spent $500 after you foods paid." I was like, "Yes." And he's like, "I'm never paying your card again."
Yeah.
Hung up the phone, paid it once, never asked him again. And from that moment forward, it was me. Work, make money, spend it, etc. The six-figure job, like I didn't deserve to make that much money, dude. Don't get me wrong, like the work product was good, and skill-wise I did.
Yeah.
But mentally, man, I was on cloud 9.
Yeah.
And I've spent as much as I've made, if not more.
Yeah.
Living the life that has been phenomenal.
Right.
I don't regret it. I do it again. I do it over again the same way.
Yeah.
Part of quitting was also that of like the realistic, like 24, it's probably a good idea to learn the lesson that like, money's not infinite. Like, let's just like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, on that same point, you've lived a life of like, you've spent money, you know what money can buy you.
Yeah.
First, we'll probably get into that. What's the biggest thing you splurged on?
Like my Europe trip was like a lot of money.
Okay.
I think that I spent a month in Europe. I think I spent like 20 grand just like bouncing around.
Yeah.
Which a lot of my friends would say that's like nothing, but like to me, yeah, it was it was 20 grand I didn't have.
Yeah.
So I probably had half that when I went into it, and then it just like continued. So that was one of my bigger ones. Other than that, like the funny part is it's not about like large or singular.
Yeah.
It's a constant. Best way I can put it is like when I partied at the peak at six figure, I was spending like a couple racks a weekend, just like in Toronto. Just
Yeah.
like here, have fun, dinner, etc.
Sure.
I'm big on loading time. A lot of my friends make a lot more than me, and I noticed that they don't have any loading time. They just show up and things happen for them.
Okay.
And then I learned that it just takes money.
Yeah.
So the nicer dinners, the good places, the black trucks, etc. Like that, I just got caught up in that, and so that's when I ended up burning my bank account. It was just like doing that, and it was fun for a
Yeah.
while.
Look, the one episode I just shot before this, like
Yeah.
we talked about average of the 5 people you're around.
Yep.
I live by that completely.
Absolutely.
I sit down every week and think about, hey, who did I give most of my time
Completely
to?
agreed.
And I will shuffle that around very non-aggressively, but I'll do it just to
Sure.
make sure I'm going where I need to go.
Yeah.
I think for you, it seems like you live by that, from my understanding,
Absolutely.
where it's like, because 20 racks in Europe, for me, I'm not doing that.
Sure.
That's a school of thought
Nobody
thing
should.
where I can't do it. Like
yeah,
my upbringing, my parents would kill me.
Absolutely.
I would kill myself. Like it would not
Absolutely.
work, right?
Yeah.
So do you think that spending habit and all that stuff is because of the people you're around, or?
No, I was solo.
Right, okay.
It was that was the specific Europe one was like this version of dream life that I just wanted to like take the most out of.
Yeah.
But I do agree with the friends thing. Like I now have surrounded myself with such great people, and they really make me who I am. Like I am the product of them.
Yeah.
I have subbed in bad people, but it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Because and to the point, like I like to think of it like a filtering system. I meet a lot of people,
Yeah.
a lot of people. What I do is I try to keep a close group of people who I know well and trust. And so I don't even need to ask their opinion when a new person comes in. I
Yeah.
can just judge their reaction. And that allows me to sit back and triage it before I even say hi. Based on 3 of my friends' reactions to you or business partners, et cetera, I know I have a good idea of who you are.
Sure.
And that the kind of like sanctitude has helped me do everything I do. And it's purely because of the people closest to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. All right, talking about people close to you.
Yeah.
So when we talked in that 10 minutes, I was curious to see if you're in a relationship, if you're single, what's going on in that space.
Yeah.
Now, being the person that you are, stereotypically very just judging book by cover, you're making music.
Yeah,
you said you
yeah.
made songs about girls, all that stuff. There's heartbreak, there's all this
Yes.
stuff. So you've been single for a while, or your entire life you've said, at least to some extent.
Yeah.
So do you think that it's you, or is it the dating pool that's a problem?
I think it's me, but it's a lot to do with a pretty intense personality.
Yeah.
I also refuse to not be me.
Okay.
And I have a pretty solid friend group who gives me the things I need.
Okay.
So I get bored really easily and I don't tolerate much. I won't act cool or change who I am to talk to you.
Sure.
And I'm pretty intense to deal with in the first place. So a lot of my relationships are like new, fun sparks that happen and then just fizzle.
Right.
Because either I've moved on or it's too much. Yeah, I've lived a crazy life. And I think a lot of that, and especially in the women era, like it attracts a lot of people who make me, I'm a hopeless romantic.
Yeah.
It's really easy to get to me. And I think what ends up happening is like the lifestyle is what they like.
Yeah.
The world I live in is what they want.
Yeah.
But it's not me.
Right.
And yeah, it's hard. And I think it's made for great songs.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about myself over the like younger years of my life
Sure.
going through this kind of thing. But, nowadays it's kind of like there will be a point where I believe that I can no longer find somebody.
Yeah.
We are far from that point.
Yeah.
Mainly because I don't think I've gone anywhere near peak. Like I've purposely put myself down.
Yeah.
So currently I'm at a low peak in general. And my other philosophy on that is like, by the way, for context, like I've definitely talked to women.
Yes. Sure.
Just never had a relationship. No.
He's not a loser.
Yeah. No, let's not do that. But no, I think now it's like I'm really selective, and I don't tolerate much. And so
Yeah.
when it does come, it'll be amazing. And I continue to try to. Yeah.
All right. I have so many things to ask, man. We're running on time.
No
So
worries.
one thing that I had is, I promise there's purpose to this question. When's the last time you cried?
Oh, it's been a while, man. I think like November, maybe December.
Okay.
It was one of those moments, like, again, these benders, you go out, you live lavish, you do all these things, but I used to wake up every morning just like, why did I do that? Or
Yeah.
like, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
Every time it would just be, dude, I'm not happy. I can't figure out why. I don't know what's going on. And a couple of those get over. You sit there and you kind of like break down a little bit.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't cried. I haven't genuinely cried consistently in a while. I think when I was back in high school, it was bad, and tears started to flow. But
Sure.
yeah, I don't know. It's maybe a deficit on my part, or just like I've seen what bottom looks like.
Yeah.
Like I not much phases me anymore. Been really, really low. You
Yeah.
know, and I just for awareness and like contemplate. I sit here as a confident, egotistical person. I have sat with a knife in my bed, like ready to end.
Right.
It's gotten really bad. The philosophy that's giving me going forward is like, you face death in the eye, so now just try.
Right.
And it really makes everything else easier. Because no matter how bad it gets, it just can't get that bad.
Right. Yeah. No, the reason I asked them, and I get it, and I think
Yeah.
it's because for me, I'm not a crier. That's
Sure.
not how I express. I don't do that. So for me, it's like, obviously there's a lot of turmoil with doing this business, a lot of risk and all that stuff. So you're going through stuff all the day,
Yeah,
every
yeah.
single day, every single week. Zuri, a client doesn't pan out. You're like, oh, goddamn, now what? Like, there's so
Absolutely.
many ups and downs.
Absolutely.
Right. So what's your way of dealing? Is it music? What's your therapy?
Yeah, music. I used to want to do it to be an artist. Now it's just like something I need to do. Get my thoughts out, my feelings out. Sometimes about women, sometimes about heartbreak. In general, I think it really soothes me.
Yeah.
I'm a storyteller. I like to write stories. And so by making music, I can capture, good or bad, the feeling in the song, and allows me to sort of step away from it. And if I want to feel it again, I listen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Last two questions. First one on this point of support and kind of just like what you are. So in terms of your life right now,
Yep.
if you could ask for just one of these three things for just betterment overall, the future, would you want emotional, financial, or mentorship support right now? The most?
Financial. Yeah, we're trying to raise. No, emotionally I feel pretty good.
Okay.
I spent quite a while in my brain in that last 8 months before I jumped into this, and so I feel pretty solid. And mentorship, I have so many mentors. I have so many great people in my life, like older, younger, who have taken the time and genuine. I'm so grateful for it and surprised. They continue to take that time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. And the last one, this is the clip, but do you think you have main character syndrome?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am the main character. I'm sorry. It's been reaffirmed over and over again. I don't know how to put it. Like, I think everyone, it's your story.
Yeah.
You're the GTA player.
Yes.
Why not have main character syndrome?
Yeah.
I found over time it's more fun that way.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, it's not a fake it till you make it, but like if you believe it, people just start to kind of believe it.
Yeah.
And it works. So yeah, definitely do.
I agree. And I was going to ask you, well, you kind of said it, but should everybody have a little bit of this to live a better life?
Yes.
I think so.
Yeah. I think if we all were a little more sure of ourselves, we'd all be a little bit better.
Yeah.
But it comes with like self-love and self-awareness. I
Yeah.
think like if you love yourself, but you also are aware of who you are, you start to become a main character.
Yeah. 100%. I think the person that needs to believe in you the most outside of parents, friends, stuff is you, because if you can do it, you'll go a lot further than anybody else. I think you've had this, I've had this, where you've spent so much time just kind of in your head, in your bed, on your computer, just kind of grinding away when nobody else is saying, hey, this is going to work. People come afterwards, but you've got to believe in yourself first to make it happen.
It's the undeniable stack of proof. Only you can give it to yourself.
Okay, cool. So I'll get you to do this. Just look at that camera, your little clip.
Cool.
I teach a bunch of students, right? Obviously, this is not something maybe a lot of parents want them to hear, things like that, because it's the unorthodox story at the end of the day, right?
Absolutely.
But I think every kid out there in their own capacities is thinking this, is doing something you're doing, or is hiding something from their parents, whatever, something's going on, right? What advice do you first have for that kid to just live a better upbringing altogether?
Yeah.
And then next is for their parents to kind of make sure they're raising their kid in the best way possible.
Yeah. I think for kids, it's, everything that you see, do, and interact with was built by people no smarter than you. So anything is possible. And then for parents, let your kid do dangerous things safely, because they'll trust you more for it. And your kid will probably grow up to be cooler than he wouldn't have been if you kept him kind of trapped. You don't have to be me. Just try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. 100%. I agree. And I guess the last thing for sure here, but I think you're talking to a generic parent, a generic child, But I know right now you've just quit your job. You've got that. Maybe your mom's a little upset. Maybe your dad's a little like, okay, I trust you, but he's also probably has his own anxieties, and I get that. Just a final wrap-up message for your parents.
Yeah, of course. I love you both. Thank you for everything you've done for me. We'll win. Just give it some time. Yeah.
100%. We will win.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, man. I appreciate your time. I think we're going to have to do a part 2, part 3 on this. There's a lot to talk about. I have a million questions left.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about that later. But everybody here, again, thank you for tuning in to Nothing Off Topic. I'll put his links in the bio, whether it's to start a business, whether it's a music. It's all fantastic. You should check it out.
Get on Zuri.
Get on Zuri. There you go. But until next time, thanks for watching another episode of Nothing Off Topic.
Thank you.
Fantastic, man. Thanks, man.
That was great, man.
Fantastic.
Great job.
Good
Yeah,
stuff.
that was awesome.